Today, we uncover the 8 butter brands the UK should be warning about. We reveal the truth that simply reading the labels is no longer enough. While heart disease remains the biggest killer in the UK, corporations continue to thrive on the hope that the British public will take their packaging at face value, quietly deceiving shoppers. From toxin-laden packaging to oil-filled spreads, these products prove that pure and natural have become marketing tricks, not guarantees of safety. Because the truth is, even the most trusted labels can no longer promise purity, safety, or honesty. They've swapped real cream for cheap oils, wrapped it in glossy branding, and sold it back to us as premium. 1. Lurpak. Once considered the gold standard of European butter, Lurpak has quietly become the face of dilution. What was once simple, cream, milk, and salt, has been transformed into a half-butter, half-oil hybrid disguised behind a premium name. Lurpak's spreadable range, the version most households buy, now contains just 63.7% real butter. The rest, rapeseed oil, water, and salt. Ingredients that cheapen the product while boosting corporate profit margins. And yet, it's still sold in the same shiny silver foil with the same clean Scandinavian branding that evokes purity and tradition. The deception doesn't stop there. During the 2022 cost of living crisis, supermarket shelves made headlines when packs of Lurpak hit nearly £6 each, some even fitted with security tags to stop theft. Imagine that, a basic fridge staple treated like a luxury item. But while prices soared, the blocks quietly shrank. What used to be a 250-gram block was reduced to 200 grams, a classic case of shrinkflation hidden in plain sight. What you're really buying isn't pure Danish butter, it's a financial illusion. A watered-down blend of oil and dairy sold at full price. The packaging makes it look premium, but if you read the small print, you'll see it's anything but. And this isn't just about money. For decades, we were told seed oils were healthy alternatives, that natural butter was dangerous and margarine was our savior. But fast forward to today, and heart disease remains the #1 killer in Britain. How can that be after decades of following their so-called heart-healthy advice? The truth is, natural butter wasn't the enemy. It was just harder to mass produce. Cheaper oils, artificial coloring, and extended shelf life made more financial sense, and that's the real secret behind Lurpak's silver sheen. Profit over purity. 2. Anchor. Anchor used to stand for honest dairy from the rolling pastures of New Zealand, thick cream, lush grass, and simple purity. For generations, the name carried weight, but today's Anchor in the UK is a very different product from the one that built that reputation. Pick up a tub of Anchor spreadable, and the small print reveals the truth, roughly half butter, half rapeseed oil. The rich, authentic cream has been diluted into an oily blend, a processed shortcut that stretches profits while watering down the very essence of what butter is supposed to be. In 2019, Anchor even tried to push the idea further with a squeezy butter variant that turned out to be 67% oil, essentially margarine in a bottle. Consumers mocked it online, sales flopped, and it quietly disappeared. But that moment exposed the direction the company was heading. Less natural food, more engineering. The irony, Anchor still trades on its wholesome New Zealand identity, its Union Jack stamped tubs whispering farmer-owned and authentic. Yet the UK product is no longer the pure dairy block it once was. It's a formula built for shelf stability, cost-cutting, and profit. Blind taste tests tell the same story. Many describe the spreadable version as neutral, greasy, and lacking any real butter aroma. Still, the price tag has climbed year after year, a premium cost for a product that's only half the real thing. It's another case of modern deception. Heritage branding wrapped around industrial shortcuts. And while companies boast about lighter spreads and easy-to-spread convenience, the reality is that every spoonful carries the mark of seed oils, the same oils once sold to us as healthy salvation, now quietly linked to inflammation and imbalance. Anchor's message used to be about purity and pride. Today, it's a warning that even the most trusted dairy icons can slip into the very trap they once stood against. 3. Kerrygold. For decades, Kerrygold symbolized everything right about butter: green pastures, grass-fed cows, and pure Irish cream. It was marketed as a golden standard, a return to tradition in a world of processed spreads. But in recent years, that wholesome image has begun to crumble. In 2023, independent lab tests and lawsuits alleged that PFAS forever chemicals, substances linked to hormone disruption, fertility issues, and even cancer, were found in the foil wrappers of Kerrygold butter. These chemicals can migrate from packaging into food, meaning that what was supposed to be pure Irish butter may have been sitting in toxic wrapping. The issue was so serious that some US states temporarily banned sales until new packaging was introduced. The scandal hit hard because Kerrygold built its entire brand on purity, the taste of nature from grass-fed Irish cows. But nature had little to do with it. The spreadable version isn't 100% butter at all. It contains around 20% rapeseed oil and added coloring to keep that deep yellow hue consistent. In other words, even their golden tone is manufactured. The parent company scrambled to redesign the wrappers and downplay the backlash, but the damage was done. Consumers started asking questions. How could something marketed as so pure, so natural, be contaminated by design? And that's the problem. Modern butter branding plays on nostalgia, cows, meadows, and honest farming, but hides behind industrial shortcuts, chemicals, and half-truths. Kerrygold's fall of grace reminds us that no brand is too premium to cut corners. For British shoppers, the message is simple. The word pure means nothing if the wrapper itself is laced with poison. If butter can be wrapped in toxins, colored for effect, and still called natural, then the definition of natural has lost all meaning. 4. Country life. You'll never put a better bit of butter on your knife. That was the slogan that made Country Life a household name. The ads oozed British pride, Union Jacks waving, green fields glistening, even punk icon John Lydon preaching butter patriotism. But beneath the nostalgia and flag-wrapped packaging lies a story that's far from patriotic. The block version may be standard dairy, but the spreadable line, the one most people buy, tells a different story. It's roughly half butter, a quarter oil, and the rest water, meaning half of what you're paying for doesn't come from a cow at all. What's marketed as British butter is, in reality, an oil blend engineered for convenience. And that's not the only blemish. Back in 2008, Country Life Spreadable was recalled nationwide after tiny pieces of blue and white plastic were found inside tubs. The contamination was traced to broken factory machinery, plastic fragments mixed into what shoppers thought was safe, wholesome butter. But perhaps the biggest deception isn't what's inside the tub, it's who owns it. Despite the branding, Country Life hasn't been British-owned since 2019. The profits now flow to Saputo, a Canadian multinational. So while the Union Jack still waves proudly on the packaging, the money leaves British shores. It's a clever trick. Sell patriotism, nostalgia, and 100% British milk, while hiding foreign ownership and industrial shortcuts. The average shopper sees rolling fields and assumes local purity. But the reality is globalized production, diluted recipes, and corporate indifference. Even the price plays on emotion. Shoppers pay a premium for that feeling of heritage and homegrown quality, when in truth, they're spreading an oil-water mix designed for cost efficiency. It's not just a tub of butter, it's a lesson in manipulation. Country Life sells the image of Britain's countryside, but what you're really buying is corporate marketing wrapped in a flag. 5. Flora. Once upon a time, Flora was marketed as the healthy alternative to butter, a heart-friendly spread made from plants, promising to save us from cholesterol and clogged arteries. For years, the message was clear: butter was bad, seed oils were salvation. But decades later, with heart disease still the UK's #1 killer, people are finally asking the question the industry hoped they never would. Was that ever true? Flora's history reads like a timeline of contradictions. It's gone vegan, then not vegan, then vegan again. One year it's free from palm oil. The next, palm oil quietly returns, hidden behind vague phrases like sustainably sourced. Every reformulation, every rebrand seems designed to confuse rather than inform. Even more worrying is how often Flora has shifted its ingredient list without warning. There were times when milk derivatives were suddenly added back into certain products, putting allergy-sensitive consumers at risk. The packaging, meanwhile, remained coated in eco-buzzwords: plant-powered, natural, kind to the planet, slogans that sound virtuous but say nothing about what's really inside the tub. Environmental groups have repeatedly called out Flora's parent company for greenwashing, accusing it of hiding unsustainable palm oil use behind recycled imagery of leaves and sunshine. The marketing paints a picture of purity and life, yet the ingredients tell a different story. Palm oil, emulsifiers, stabilizers, and flavorings crafted to mimic real dairy richness. Flora's constant identity crisis reflects a deeper truth about the modern food industry. Nothing stays real for long. What began as a product sold to protect our hearts has turned into a laboratory experiment of shifting recipes and unstable claims. And through it all, the same lie continues: that something artificial can be a better version of what nature already perfected. Flora isn't just changing its formula, it's changing the public's definition of food. 6. Waitrose Essential Butter. For decades, Waitrose has been the symbol of British quality, the supermarket that stood above the rest. If there was one store the public thought they could trust, it was this one. So when Essential Waitrose butter hit the shelves, people expected purity, simple ingredients, real dairy, nothing to hide. But in April 2024, that trust was shattered. A nationwide recall was issued after consumers discovered blue cloth and fragments of plastic inside 500-gram blocks of Essential Waitrose salted butter. The Food Standards Agency issued an urgent "Do Not Eat" alert, warning of potential choking hazards. What shocked the public wasn't just the contamination, it was that it happened under the most respected names in British retail. Think about that. Butter is supposed to be one of the simplest foods on earth, just cream, churned. Yet somewhere along the production line of a premium supermarket, cleaning rags and factory debris found their way into the final product, wrapped, sealed, and sold to thousands of loyal customers. Waitrose moved quickly, apologizing and offering refunds, but the damage was already done. The story spread across national headlines: blue cloth found in butter, premium brand fails safety check. For many it was a turning point, proof that even the best brands can fail basic food safety. Waitrose built its image on reliability. But when foreign objects start showing up in your butter, trust melts away faster than the product itself. If even they can't guarantee purity, what hope is there for the rest?
7. I can't believe it's not butter. The name says it all. I can't believe it's not butter. And for once, that's the most honest thing about it. Because it isn't butter. Not even close. This long-running supermarket favorite is often mistaken for a lighter, healthier alternative to dairy. But in truth, it's a margarine-style spread made from vegetable oils, water, flavorings, and emulsifiers. No cream, no milk fat, nothing remotely resembling traditional butter. Yet the yellow packaging, creamy texture, and soft spread consistency are designed to mimic the real thing, tricking the eye and the mind at the same time. The brand's marketing for decades has leaned on one core message, that it's better for you. It rode the same wave of misinformation that demonized natural butter and glorified seed oils as the savior of heart health. But decades later, as heart disease still tops the charts in the UK, it's clear that those promises were never more than marketing. Even worse, I can't believe it's not butter has a long history of recipe flip-flops. At times it was vegan, then suddenly dairy ingredients appeared, then they vanished again. For those with allergies or dietary restrictions, that kind of inconsistency isn't just confusing, it's dangerous. And while its ingredient list shifts, one thing never changes: palm oil. Linked to deforestation, habitat destruction, and environmental collapse, it remains a key component of this spread. The irony is staggering. A product sold as healthier, built on environmental harm and industrial processing. This isn't butter. It's a chemical imitation. And the fact that it's still sitting next to real butter on the supermarket shelf, marketed with the same wholesome colors and smiling imagery, shows just how blurred the line between food and fabrication has become. When you peel back the lid, you're not uncovering a natural product, you're looking at decades of deception, emulsified, flavored, and sold back to you as progress. 8. Utterly butterly. If I can't believe it's not butter was the first imposter, Utterly Butterly is its British cousin. Cheerful, familiar, and just as deceptive. The name alone blurs the truth, wrapping industrial oil blends in the comforting illusion of farm-fresh dairy. Owned by Saputo, the same Canadian multinational behind Country Life, Utterly Butterly leans heavily on British farm imagery and light-hearted ads, green pastures, happy families, and the word butter stamped right across the front. But one glance at the ingredient list tells another story entirely. This isn't traditional butter. It's mainly vegetable oils like rapeseed, sunflower, and palm, mixed with buttermilk powder, preservatives, and coloring agents to create a butter-like look and feel. Even its slogan, Utterly Butterly Taste, is built on a contradiction. It sells the idea of butter, not the substance. And yet, despite being far cheaper to produce than real dairy, Utterly Butterly sits on shelves priced almost neck and neck with genuine butter brands. You're paying near butter prices for an oil blend crafted in a factory, not churned on a farm. It's a masterclass in consumer manipulation. The packaging screams tradition, the recipe whispers cost-cutting. And just like Country Life, the profits don't stay in Britain. They flow overseas. The flag, the farms, the nostalgia, all are marketing props designed to comfort the buyer while concealing the truth. The tragedy is that products like Utterly Butterly have normalized the unnatural. Generations have grown up believing these spreads are simply a modern form of butter, when in reality, They're the industrial offspring of the seed oil era, an age built on convenience, not health. When you scrape the truth off the label, Utterly Butterly isn't British, isn't wholesome, and isn't butter. It's the final reminder that our nation's food culture has been hijacked, one spread at a time. A century ago, butter was simple: cream, churned by hand, rich with nutrients, and free from manipulation. But somewhere along the line, corporations decided profit was more important than purity. They convinced us that seed oils were heart-healthy and that butter was the enemy. The media pushed it, doctors repeated it, and for decades we believed them. Now, after 50 years of better living through chemistry, Britain faces a health crisis worse than ever. Heart disease remains our #1 killer. Our food is filled with unnecessary additives, oils, and preservatives, and yet it's sold back to us with slogans like pure, natural, local, healthy. It's not just misleading, it's an insult to the intelligence of the British public. A Public Health England study in 2020 found that only 51% of butter samples were microbiologically satisfactory, the worst rate of all dairy products. Contaminants like Listeria monocytogenes and E. coli were still being found in household butters. And a Nordic Food Lab study in 2025 showed that even butter stored in fridges can oxidize and go rancid when exposed to light and air during transport, with no labeling requirement to warn consumers. It's no wonder people are losing trust. The British public has had enough. We're tired of false patriotism, tired of glossy wrappers hiding seed oils and chemicals, tired of being told what's healthy by the same corporations that profit from our decline. Maybe it's time to go back to basics, to buy local cream, churn it ourselves, and bring food back to what it's supposed to be. Because the fewer the ingredients, the fewer the lies. And remember this: when even premium brands can't promise purity, the only real control you have is in your own hands.